3 times. 4 times. Doing gang things. Living super clean. That done came up. Can't control us. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. Look at you done came up now. Get it how you live, mess the game up now. Ain't messing with yoga, but get the flame up. Hey, used to be Toby, but got your name back now. I see ya, paid under pressure. 25 lighters got them all on the dresser. If it ain't for you, ain't for you then. If you a lame or a sucker, wanna dress you then. Grown up now, bump the childish ways. Got a wife and a bunch of kids to raise. Punch a clock side, hustle or a business you endure to ensure that all the bills is paid. Slow clap for your homeboy. Could've turned out like your homeboy. Being on the same block, cooking up the same rock on the cell block lock with your homeboy. But no, you had vision, you had goal. Brand new you on the old time road. Take care of home where you bust your low. Black men don't cheat, screaming bumpy hoe. Real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you PD grade. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the folk that have moved up. Even if you had a slow start screwed up. Used to gang bang, now homie brewed up. Had a little plan, I had them blew up. Look at you like a man right now. Dressed to the T, smelling like a grand right now. And you ain't got nothing from a handout now. Just faith and hard work gets it planned out now. You could've took a bunch of dusty rolls. The hand dealt with a bunch of cards to fold. To stay hot while the world is freezing cold. The same plot, but the story's never old. Slow clap for your kinfolk. Could've been asking what your info. Prosecutor could be trying to do you in for the 2020 twins, so you passing out the info. But no, you had purpose, you had plans. I ain't throwing nothing, I'ma say these bands won't impress y'all, don't need no fans. That ain't my God, who is that man? This real man talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you peak these grades. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. Yeah, real man. Sheesh. Yeah. Doing gang things. Living super clean. That it came up.
1 time for my king doing king things. Mom these hoes cause he know he got a good thing. I submit and I cook and I clean and I never hold back on that pop. I'ma let it rain. Made me honest, I got a ring. All praises to the most high, let it sing. A real man able, sister never came. And I ain't going nowhere, this is not a game. Look at you, girl, you're lonely right now. Settling for bums instead of men the most high. He provide and protect so he get our respect. And he leading us aboard when them chariots fly. I don't really think you hear me though. You can't cross this bridge on some billy goats. Let them save you in the end like a Semino. Be help me, shout let the silly go.
1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord, saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono. Good evening to you all. Thank you for being with me. All praises to the Most High. Hold on. Let me lift my chair up. I do not like sitting low. I hate sitting low. So, got to move the chair up. Anyway, all praises to the Most High. Thank you for being here with me on this evening. You could be anywhere on the worldwide internet, but you are here with me, and I appreciate that. If you don't know, if this is your first time, if you just happen to come by, or maybe you forgot, allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm at Miss Mono's World. That's right. At Miss Mono's World, you can follow me in these content creator streets, IG, TikTok, Facebook. You know, I dibble and dabble around. So you can see my content at Miss Mono's World. That's on everything: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Speaking of Instagram, I didn't even start the the Instagram live. Okay, got that going. All right. Also, I would be remiss if I did not shout out the man who makes it all possible, Monologue McGad, ladies and gentlemen. MONOLOGMAGAD. If you're not watching from the YouTube already, please head over to the YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono. Just in case, I'm live here every Thursday at 8 o'clock, okay? But also have to give a shout out to Nasaya TV because I am live there every Thursday at 8 o'clock as well. You can download the Nasaya TV app on your Apple TV, your Fire Sticks, your Roku, whatever smart TV you fancy. You can download the Nasaya TV app there, or if you're just on the net, Nasaya.tv. And it's not just my show, lots of great content for the entire family. You've got some classes, you got some great documentaries, some good movies. So be sure you check them out, Nasaya.tv or the Nasaya TV app. Thank you so much for that. All right, so I have a few things today, but Angelina, shalom and shalom, sis. Thank you for joining me. The main topic, why Boaz don't want your ass, you celebrate unaliving babies. And I didn't want to use the K word because you know how sensitive the internet can be. So yeah, and all right, we'll talk about it as we get to it. But there was a post on Facebook, and a young lady, yes, she was black, posted like multiple pictures of herself, and the caption was post-abortion glow with some, emojis. Hot mess. Not to mention the comments under the original picture, okay? It's all a hot mess. But we're going to talk about that in our main topic. And actually, I was looking for side stories, and the side stories that I found all kind of tie in with the topic. So we're going to go here. Monologue McGad, ladies and gentlemen. I think he's trying to feel on me while he's back here, but that's okay. All right. So for my first side story, hold on. Because the first side story I wanted to do. Okay, let's do this first side story and let's do this first side story and then we'll go into the other side stories, okay? But how many of y'all, I don't know how many of y'all enjoyed Luke Cage, or you watched Luke Cage when it was on Netflix. I know I did. Me and my husband watched it. It was good. I was into it, right? It's a black superhero series. It's set in Harlem. I don't think it's present day. I'm pretty sure it's not present day, but it's set in Harlem, okay? So let's just start there. When you hear Harlem, you expect to hear about what? Go ahead, tell me. I'll wait. When you hear Harlem, you expect to hear about black people, okay? So can someone please explain to me why there are people complaining because there were too many black villains in Luke Cage? That's what they said. There are too many black villains in Luke Cage. It makes black people look bad. Why do the black people always have to be the bad guys? And I, for one, am so confused here. It's like, do y'all want black stories or not? If we're going to have black stories, then we have to understand that black people are going to have to play multiple roles in these stories. It's a freaking superhero. Like, I'm done. The stuff that people choose to be outraged about these days is freaking ridiculous. I loved Luke Cage. I enjoyed Luke Cage. I wish they would bring it back. I don't know what the uproar is about. It seems like a bunch of fake outrage, like just trying to have something to talk about. It's freaking ridiculous. Let us have our Black stories, please. Okay. And sometimes that means a Black person has to play the bad guy. It's a fake story anyway. All right. So my next side story, actually, my next two side stories kind of go into the main topic. So, it may just be a slope into the main topic. Okay. So let's see what we're going to do with that. So the first thing I wanted to tell y'all, and hey, on the surface, this appears to be a good story. Like when I was reading it, I didn't, see or read any reason to object. So according to an article, an opinion piece in Newsweek, the title, let me read the title because I want to get the opinion of the author right. America needs a Black Wives Matter movement to rebuild the Black family. Let me say it louder for the people in the back. And this is one opinion that I 1,000% agree with. Okay. America needs a Black Wives Matter movement to rebuild the Black family. Now, when you go into the article, it talks about how in the 60s, the nuclear Black family, for the most part, was intact. You had children who were growing up with a mother and a father, their biological parents in the same home. And the descent that we as a people have made to now, it's like 80% of our kids are growing up in a single parent, more specifically, a single mother household. So the article talks about a marriage before carriage movement that some churches and other like public health groups are trying to get off the ground, where they want to encourage Black people to get married before they start having babies. Get married, stay married, and have babies. The plan that the program lays out for the participants is get your education, get a job, get a career, get some type of income going, get married, and then start having babies. In the article, it was a really good article. I really enjoyed it. You can find it on Microsoft Start if you want to go there and look. But the author was talking about how we blame everything else in society for the problems that we have with our children. We'll blame everything else except taking a look at the dysfunction that our kids are living in. We'll blame society. We want to blame the internet. And this is like a sidebar to the side story. This is not a Black issue, but it kind of goes along with it. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw this week, a group of parents dragged Mark Zuckerberg in front of the Senate because they wanted to sue him because their children unalived themselves allegedly because of content from Facebook. Okay. So, and that's what I mean by we'll blame everything else but ourselves. We want to hold social media accountable. We want to hold cartoons and movies and everything else. We want to blame rap music and horror culture. We want to blame everything else except for looking at where life begins, which is in the home. Okay. So this article was saying, like, listen, I'm not, the author seemed to be expressing the opinion that I'm not saying that all these other reasons are not valid factors, but the fact of the matter is, if we're not raising our children in a stable home, what chance do they have to have a decent life? Like, I mean, and okay. So before we go to our other story, like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, because y'all might get a little upset about this one. Turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono. If you don't follow us and you are an Israelite in the Metro Atlanta area, like, what are you even doing with your life? follow myself, follow my husband. We are trying to build something for like-minded Israelites here in the metro Atlanta area. So please connect with us. Or if you know someone, you know, in the area, please pass our information on to them. Shalom and shalom, Sister Delta. How you doing? Speaking of Sister Delta, you know what? It's my fault because I meant to have a website pulled up and I didn't. The Light Hebrew Magazine, you guys. Okay. If you haven't checked it out, you need to check it out. TLHM.net. You can pull up the latest digital copy. Please take a gander. Check out the cover girl, Nariah Cole. Flip through the pages. Check out some of the amazing events and artists that we have coming up. And then stop by Miss Mono's World, the Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass section, and enjoy some of my authoring. Okay. The Light Hebrew Magazine, TLHM.net. Support Israelite businesses. Go ahead and check that out. All right, so my next story might get y'all feathers a little ruffled. Before I go into my next story, I got a call from my uncle. My uncle on my dad's side. And, you know, we're not super close. We didn't grow up together. Typical Black family stuff, okay? We didn't grow up together. Or I didn't grow up with him or anything like that. But as I got older, you know, we started speaking and, you know, we're familiar with each other. And he called me today and he was just like, you know, I know I don't say much. He's like, but I'll be watching you. And I was like, oh, he's turning 70 tomorrow. So all praise to the Most High, he's turning 70 tomorrow. So I don't expect my uncle to be commenting and stuff like that. On the chat. But listen, if you're watching and you just don't comment for whatever reason, I appreciate you. Okay. I do appreciate you. Thank you very much. Even if you don't comment, if you just watch and you're just sending me, you know, good thoughts, I appreciate you very much. Thank you. All right. So our next story. More Black mothers are becoming single parents by choice and finding fulfillment. They claim they're finding fulfillment in being single mothers. Okay. And so, what really just got me as I'm reading the article, it's about this one particular woman. And she was married. Her marriage didn't work out, right? But she decided that she still wanted kids. She wants to have kids. So she says she goes to her grandmother or whatever. And she told her grandma, you know, I can't find a good man right now, but I still want a baby. And supposedly her grandma said, well, just go on and have you a baby. Now, I don't know what kind of grandma she got. Martha E., may she rest, would have never, okay, would have never told me no foolishness like that. But this lady say her grandma told her to just go on and have a baby. She don't need a man. And then she goes on to say how she talked it over with her family. Like she was discussing it with different members of her family. Still no man in the picture, but she's discussing it with like her mom and her siblings or whatever. And supposedly they were encouraging her, right? So I guess the way the article read, because here's my problem. Here's why I keep stopping. Because I find it hard to believe that any woman with any lick of sense would advise any other woman to be a single mother on purpose. I find that very hard to believe. As a person who has been a single mother, hell, even as a married mother, I would never advise any woman to make themselves a single mother on purpose, much less a woman that I claim to love. Let me be very clear, okay? I teach virginity until marriage in our family, to the girls and to the boys, okay? So how any mom, grandma, aunt, cousin, how any woman with a lick of sense advises their loved one to, yeah, girl, go ahead and make yourself a single mom is beyond me. So that's why I keep stopping. And I just want to make sure that y'all understand that this is what this woman was saying. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, you want to say that's weird, but then the more you like get to know people and hear things, and just the more we live, you realize that like people were not raised with what many of us would consider like baseline decency. Like baseline decency. You realize that people don't even have that. Okay. So that's why I keep stopping. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all now. These are the author's words, not mine. Okay. She talks to her family, and they were all like, "Yeah, girl, go ahead, do the baby thing." She gets pregnant once, um, artificially or whatever, has a baby, and then she decides she wants to have another baby, but this time she's having problems. Who cares? She paid all this money and had another baby. So now here's a single Black woman with 2 kids, right? And so she talks about how later on in the article, all of her family had moved away and she didn't have anyone to help her. She says, she had other people, just random people around to help her with her kids, which is crazy. She has random people around to help her with her kids. But my thing is, if you discuss this with your family and they encourage you to have a baby, was we not expecting the family to be around to help with the baby? What I'm thinking, okay, you went and talked to your family and y'all decided that y'all was going to make a village or a community or whatever for you and the babies and they was going to support you. Ain't wrong. No, all her family is gone. She's single, like no help at all, and has to I guess count on the kindness of strangers, or she's paying strangers or whatever to keep her kids. And her attitude in the article is one of total defiance. One of her last quotes was, Black people have, hold on, wait. Don't wait. Nope, I don't want to misquote her because it's so freaking outrageous to me. Hold on, what she said. I don't want to misquote her. Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna read these last paragraphs. Another realization Jenkins had was that she was determined to present her lifestyle choice as a simple fact and not open to discussion. Because of this, she has never felt particularly judged for her choice to become a single mother. I believe, buckle your seatbelts. I believe it has taken roughly 400 years and many millions of people to get us to this point. And my choice to forego motherhood against my will, what? And my choice to forego motherhood against my will, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, won't change the current state of things. Here's another quote from her. I do think that single motherhood carries a stigma, but I think that stigma matters more to people who became single parents unexpectedly and people who have experienced privilege up to the point of choosing to be a single mother. Buckle your seatbelts. I intentionally became a single mother, and as a Black woman, privilege is already at a minimum. My choice to be a single mother doesn't add or take away from that. So you're saying that it's been 400 years and all this horrible other stuff has happened to Black people. So why not let me go ahead and add to the trash that we have to deal with? Why not let me go ahead and compound onto Black people's problems? Because hey, me and my kids, we're not going to make a difference anyway. Are you for real? As a Black woman, my privilege is already at a minimum. So you go and you decide to not just make your life harder, but these 2 innocent children now have to struggle with having a, may I say, ignorant, selfish, rebellious woman as a mother. I can't deal with it. It does. It does not make any sense. And her whole thing was, I want to have a baby, so I'm going to have a baby. I don't understand. I don't understand why we keep dragging the trash along with us. Yeah, it's been 400 years. Don't you think it's time for us to start making some changes? Why would we say, "Oh, well, it's we've been doing bad this long. We've been hurting it." Who stands in the fire? Who lights a lighter under their hand and just leave it there and says, "Well, it's been burning this long. I might as well just burn it all the way through." Who does that? Who finds out that they're allergic to a medication and keeps on taking it? Well, it's killing me. I guess me taking it another day is not going to matter. What? It's not making any sense. It's not making any sense. I was scared to tell my grandma I was having a baby out of wedlock. Hello? These new grandmas is different. She must be one of them 30-year-old grandmas because I can't imagine. Like, they hate her. They have to hate her. They have to hate her. For no one to say, and you know what? Maybe they did say, no, stop, don't do that. And that's why they all wound up moving away. Like, if you want to make a stupid decision, then that's on you, but you're not going to burden me with that. So maybe they did tell her no, and she just decided, as women often do, when they get their mind made up on something, that they're not going to hear any logic. I know I'm not supposed to say that, right? Because I remember this line from the Barbie movie, and it really made me mad. But one of the Barbies was saying, a woman's superpower is that we don't just have logic, but we have emotions too. And I want to say to you guys that, and I'm not talking about, I'm not talking against having emotions, having feelings, having empathy for people, and no, I'm not talking about that. When we talk about women being emotional creatures, we're talking about the fact that we make our decisions based on our emotions and how we feel at the time. Case in point, she decided to have kids without a man, as a lot of women do. I mean, she says in her article, like, she started a Facebook group for it, and there are girls as young as 19 and 20 in this group saying, I don't need a man, I just want a baby. Here's the delusion of it all. For some reason, we have been led to believe that when kids are born, they just automatically love us because we're their parents. We have been led to believe that just because, you came from my loins and I birthed you and I'm here, you should love me forever and you are forever beholden to me and blah 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 blah. But the case of the matter is that's just not true, because guess what? Kids grow up, right? Kids grow up and they start hanging out with other people, and they start seeing how other people's parents treat them, and they start seeing, like, wait a minute, no, my family's kind of jacked up. Like, that's not right. Wait a minute, hold on. They get around somebody who teaches them what real love is supposed to be and what real love is supposed to look like. And then when they come back and don't want to have nothing to do with you, you can't figure out why. But the fact of the matter is, you decided to go against God's plan, and you decided that you was big and bad enough to do a two-person and a one supreme entity job by yourself, on purpose, in full on rebellion, like shaking your fist at God. I don't need a man. And then, in order to justify your emotional temper tantrum that you're having, you say, oh, well, Black people are doing bad anyway. Me becoming a single mother isn't going to make it any worse. And I always say that if a person has to point to a worser thing to justify what they did, then they know what they did was jacked up. You It's like a serial killer. Like, well, at least I ain't chop them up and put them in my freezer. What, sir? You're still wrong. Terribly. And two wrongs do not a right make. That's what my grandmother used to say. All these I just want a baby chicks better go get a Cabbage Patch or a Barbie doll. One of the ones that cry and fake poop and die. No, for real. And so that's the other thing I was gonna say. They feel like they're just supposed to get love from a baby, not realizing how much love it takes to do right by a baby. Okay, we're not just talking about a baby, because that baby is going to grow up into a toddler. It's going to grow up into a child, a teenager. And if you've ever dealt with teenagers, you know they'll make you question why you ever had kids in the first place. Okay. Um, and so I don't get it. It's just more of the same wayward. It's wickedness. It's wicked thinking. It's this feminist spirit. It's witchcraft, and I'm like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono. If you like what I'm saying, something I'm saying, or you like what we got going on here at the House of Mono, please stop by the Cash App, $ the House of Mono. $1 or $2 will do, but 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever. We appreciate y'all. All right, so the main topic, okay? There's a picture on Facebook. And it was just some selfies. It was a girl just taking some selfies, right? Like 4 of them. And the caption was post-abortion glow. And I was like, is she for real? Like, you for real? And the group that I saw the post in, most of the comments were supportive. The comments that weren't 100% supportive weren't exactly like, nah, that's not right. It was more like, oh, that's cringy. Oh, that's weird. Why would you do that? I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to post an unpopular opinion in a group on Facebook, especially a group full of angry Black women who don't have a man. But if you've ever dared to post an opinion contrary to what the groups think you should think, oh, honey, they will come after you, okay? I don't care. All right, because I feel like some girl somewhere might see what I said, and even if it's just to realize that, okay, there is somebody else out here that thinks like me, then all praises to the Most High. I'm gonna say what I know is right. Okay, so of course I'm like, y'all retarded. Like, this is nothing to celebrate. You don't celebrate murder. You don't. And see, here's the problem. Nobody wants to call it that. We don't want to call it murder. But so here's the thing, right? There are stages of development. With anything that grows, anything that's alive goes through stages of development, right? You have a seed, you plant that seed, it grows into a flower. You have a sperm and an egg. They meet each other. They make a zygote, which turns into a fetus, which turns into a newborn, which turns into an infant, which turns into a toddler, a child, a teenager, a full-on adult. If you stop anything in the first stages of development, it does not mean that you did not destroy the thing. If I take that seed and destroy it, that's still a loss to me. Because now I can't plant this seed. This seed cannot fulfill its purpose. This seed is never going to do what it was sent to do because I killed it. But when I say that about a human, I'm wrong, I'm crazy, and everything else. Hear me, okay? For the purpose, let me say this again. I already told y'all we teach virginity until marriage. Okay. But even for the purpose of this argument, I was willing to contend. Okay, yes, celibacy is hard. Yes, I get it. It is a hard thing to do. But so does that mean that because you don't want to be celibate, does that mean that you get to use abortion as birth control? Because see, a lot of my sisters in church, a lot of y'all who claim y'all trying to live righteous, and please hear what I'm saying. I'm not condemning, I'm not talking down, I'm not trying to bully you. But a lot of y'all will walk around in denial of your problems instead of facing your problem and being responsible about it. Okay? What do I mean by that? You know you still knocking boots with old boy. You know you know what you're doing. You know that when you leave the function and you take your head wrap off and you pull off that skirt and you waiting for Buddy to come by, you know he's not coming over to watch Netflix and take a couple of shots and go on about his business. You know what you're doing when you make the phone call, when you get the text message. You have more than enough time to get some birth control. I'm sorry. Like, here's the thing. Before y'all start talking about, oh, you can't hold the world to God's standards. Okay, fine. But let's not act like that this is not going on in people who claim to not be of the world, people who claim to have been repentant. Okay. It's like I don't understand the reckless abandon which people go into sin these days. Because back when I was wilding out, I knew I didn't want to get caught. I knew I didn't want to have any kind of traumatic repercussions. I knew, like, okay, this is not all my life. This is not my end goal. I'm just here for a short time. You know what I'm saying? And so you conduct yourself in that manner. Come on. We all have a line that we don't cross. Okay. I like to refer to it as that hedge of protection, right? Like, okay, you can come out here and do some stuff, but when you get to this line, like them sirens start going off in your head, and you listen, the Most High, the Bible says warning come before destruction. Okay. The Most High ain't never gonna jump down on you and not have sent you a warning. It don't happen like that. I've been knowing him too long. And I can tell he don't just jump down on you like that. It's a warning. Somebody gonna come say something. Something might pop up. Listen, you never know, but you'll get signs and you'll know it's a sign because your spirit will be disturbed. And instead of you taking heed and listening to that, you'll just push it to the side for that lust of the flesh, for that pleasure that you get from laying up with that young man or old man, whatever you're doing. You'll put that to the side. Shaka boom, shalom and shalom, sis. Oh, wrong button. There we go. You'll push it to the side. And you'll be like, but he loved me, and we gonna make this work out. We gonna make this work. And he loved me. I'm not thinking about what God talking about right now. We gonna make this work. As long as I keep my head wrapped and my fringes on, I'll be fine. As long as I follow the rest of the law, I should be okay. And hear me, yes, you need to repent. Let's be clear, you need to repent. But like I said earlier, two wrongs do not a right make. You don't add sin on top of sin. I was fornicating, I got pregnant, now I'm gonna go out and commit a murder. Where does the where does your sense of, where does your conscience kick in? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. When does your conscience kick in? When do you say in your head, I fear God too much to cross this line? And that used to be a very clear line for me. I don't know what's going on. And I think this is why I say bring back shame. Because I think we took away shame. And now, because there are no immediate responses to your actions now, you can kind of act like it doesn't exist. Because if I get pregnant and everybody at the church knows and nobody's shaming me and they're still gonna throw me a baby shower and they're gonna buy things for my baby, but nobody's shaming me, then why do y'all told me all I had to do was come up to the altar and repent. So I'm gonna come to the altar and repent and then I should be fine, right? And here's the problem with the doctrine of Jesus paid it all. Because then where does it stop? Why do Jesus paid it all. So I can have all these murders. I can keep letting these people infiltrate my womb and killing these black babies because Jesus paid it all. Y'all told me in church that if a death row convict came and repented, that he was going to heaven too. So Jesus paid it all. And here's the problem, right? Because we are not a nation of people that sees a baby as a person. So there's never an earthly punishment. And listen, stop following around people who you don't know what their path in life is. What do I mean by that? Listen, you know if somebody is just a wicked person. You go back, use your discernment. Here's what I don't understand. It's pictures of women on the internet right now with men's faces tattooed on their face. More than one. What? Y'all are really out here doing this? But again, there's no earthly judgment. Instead of people saying, what they say is only God can judge me. The Bible says don't judge. No, ma'am, sis, cousin. The Bible says to judge righteously. Okay, but see, the problem with that is, one, a lot of us don't want to admit to some of our mistakes so we can stand up here and tell these young girls, listen, baby, I've been where you at. I know where you're going. You don't want to do that because we're too embarrassed. We're too afraid of what people will think of us. We done lied to our boyfriends, our kids, and our husbands, been lying all of our life. So God forbid somebody find out about them few years you spent on the strip or them few years you spent in the strip club. So now you can't even tell your testimony. So now not only are you not getting free, but the person who they not free either. And you sitting and you'll just sit on it. You'll sit on the word that God is putting in you because you don't want to look people in the eye and take accountability for your mess. And that's wrong, sis. And you're going to have to answer for that blood on your hands. You're going to have to answer for it because all we like to do is walk around and, no, my name is such and such, and I've been saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost all of my life. I just fell out of heaven one day and met this wonderful man, and we got married and had babies, and that's all that ever happened to me. I'm just here now. No wonder the kids think they can't talk to us. No wonder they don't believe anything we say because nobody want to tell them the truth. We just want to sit up here and look pretty and stand behind the camera with our eyelashes and our 40-inch bust downs and talk about what God said instead of really talking to people, really talking to these girls and letting them know, no, you need to stop what you're doing. And I don't care who bashes me. I don't care who calls me a pick me. I don't care who doesn't like me. As long as the Most High and my husband is pleased with my work, I could. Let me read some of these comments. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. So, when we go live, Speak, sis, I legit just told mine this. I almost had the covering taken away from me and I didn't like it. No, it is not listen, when you know you outside the will of the Most High, that is not a comforting feeling at all. That is a horrible feeling. Definitely a warning first, because you'll sense it. You'll listen, I've never found myself in a bad situation and was able to look back and say, oh, gee, I had no idea that this was going to happen. No, I knew. I knew from the beginning that I had no business doing the thing that I was doing. Okay. And as much as we don't want to accept, that's your first warning. You know better. You've been taught better. You know better. You know this is wrong. That's your first warning. But how merciful and how good the Most High is. All right, now. It's like with your kids, when you love your kids. All right, now. Don't make me tell you again now. All right. One more time. Okay, that's it. All right, you don't want to listen. I got to show you that I'm a man of my word. And now you're in the open shame. And instead of you standing on business, you'll just go and kill a baby, kill a person, take away a destiny. That was supposed to be somebody's best friend. That was supposed to be somebody's husband or wife. That was supposed to be somebody's first girlfriend or boyfriend, somebody's first little love. You don't know what that child would have done for your life. And here's what gets me. One of the comments was, well, if you don't want to be a single mother and you don't want to bring another child into this, then getting an abortion is okay. Why is it okay for you to decide to end that child's life? But if that child came to you and said, you know what, mom, I don't like it here. Nah, you tripping. I don't like the way you got me living. You ain't got no man. I don't want to be here. You would have a problem with that. But no one but the Most High has the power to give and take life. So the fact that you feel entitled to do that because you think this is what's best for you is why a lot of us are walking around with baldness, while a lot of us are walking around with cancers and fibroids and everything else going on with our uteruses and our secret places. But I digress. If he's a real man of the Most High, he won't. He won't. I ignore it instead of taking. And let me. And then be the worst ones, don't it? When you ignore it, then be the worst ones. Because you can't blame nobody but yourself. You can't blame nobody but yourself. You just gotta sit there and take it. Like, yep, I did it. I was the dummy. The church won't because they want the money. And that's true as well. We all know that. Who was I listening to? I forgot who I was listening to, but they were talking about how the Black church became filled with single women. And they were saying that the pastors figured out the women, if you can give the women something to feel good about, they will give you their money. Okay. But in order to do that, you got to get rid of the men, right? So what did they do? Start gearing the church towards more emotional, feminine things and taking out the things that would encourage men to come. And so now what do you have? Churches full of single women getting pregnant, having baby showers, and getting pregnant again. Okay, I'm just saying. It is sad. It is very, very sad. Transparency has to be there in order to help someone. It has to be. You have, and hear what I'm saying. I'm not saying you got to air your dirty laundry from the mountaintop, okay? Because I'm not about to sit up here on this and tell y'all all my business. No, that's not what's gonna happen. But if I feel led, if I feel led, we're having a conversation and it comes up and here's an opportunity for me to set you free by the, what does it say, by the blood and the word of our testimony. So here's my opportunity to set you and possibly myself even more freer again by the word of my testimony. Then yes, I'm gonna give it to you raw, real, and one of the reasons that I'm happy that I can say that is because there's nothing that I'm going to tell you that my husband doesn't already know. My husband knows it all. The nooks, the crannies, he knows it all. So even if you decide, oh, she told me this and I'm gonna go tell, okay, my husband already knows. I don't really care what anybody else thinks. But y'all you won't even be real with your family, with your teammates, with the man that you claim you love. You lay up doing all kind of nasty things with the man, but you won't tell him the truth about who you are and where you came from. And that's not right. Y'all know y'all wrong for that too. I wanted my babies. Abortion never crossed my mind before. I'm grateful that's the line I didn't cross. All praises to the Most High. No real husband. You know what? I don't know if y'all saw that Monique interview. Club Shay Shay. Y'all need to watch that interview if y'all haven't watched it. Now, of course, I don't agree 100% with what anyone says besides my husband. Okay. So she goes off and she refers to, she doesn't say God, she says the universe and blah blah, all this other stuff. But when she spoke about her husband, she spoke so highly of her husband. It was you couldn't do nothing but take it in. And she talks about how when her and her husband first got together, she was the breadwinner. So she would sit at the head of the table. And it was like they just kind of did whatever she wanted to do. And she said, he never, and now I don't agree with this part, but she was saying like he never came in and put his foot down or anything else. It just kind of progressed into her realizing that she shouldn't be sitting at the head of the table, and she started letting him sit there. So she talks about how he kind of worked with her to get her to change from that rough, aggressive woman that she was into a more softer, gentler lady. So all praises for that. Because same story with me and my husband. I think that's what any real man is gonna come in your life and do. He's gonna come in your life and he gonna let you know, okay, boo, you can take all the armor off. You can put the shield down. You can relax. And yeah, it's gonna take some time and arguments and it's gonna be tears and all this other stuff. But a real man is gonna come in and take that weight off your shoulders and let you know, like, nah, it's okay. Like, relax, be in your femininity. And for a lot of us, it's new. It was new for me. But baby, I love it here now. I ain't listen. I think my husband thinks that he overdid it sometimes. But I look, I like it here now. And I ain't going back. Okay. I ain't going, but listen, I'm not going back. Okay. All right. No, but I will tell you the key parts the Most High showed me. Look with spiritual eyes. Absolutely, you have to use your discernment. You absolutely have to use your discernment. Y'all love to talk about how we don't fight against flesh and blood, but against spirits and principalities, but you still refuse to look at things with your discernment. You refuse to accept the clues that the Most High is sending you. It be little blue paw prints all up and down this man, but you refuse to see it. Why? Because I love him and I want him. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you did. Like, you couldn't say nothing bad about him, but a real man is gonna take the lead. Yeah, and that's what I don't like. Cause me and my husband have this conversation often, and he already tell me, like, if I would have been wealthy when we got together, he wouldn't have got with me because he's not the man. He's not the kind of man that could take that backseat like that. Like, he would never go for that. He'd come in the front door like, girl, what's wrong with you? I don't care if this is your house. I'm the man. And I'm not sitting nowhere else but right here. You know what I'm saying? So that part kind of threw me off because I don't know no man that's gonna let you punk him like that. But hey, if it worked out for her, and the way she speaks of him now, how he's her manager as well. And some people would say that he's the reason for a lot of her trouble. I'm just talking about the way she spoke of that man on that interview. Highly respectable. Again, just top tier, class act when it comes to her husband. You talking about me right now? Well, all praises to the Most High. That's what. Listen, if one person can feel what I'm saying, then. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono. Listen, if you like what I'm saying or you like what we got going on here at the House of Mono, please head over to the Cash App, $ the House of Mono. $1 or $2 will do. 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever you got. Also, don't forget, you can catch past podcast episodes on the Messiah TV app too, guys. I don't just air there live on Thursdays. You can catch the reruns anytime. You can also catch reruns, music content, visuals from my husband at Monologue Magad on YouTube, MONOLOGMAGAD, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. If you're not following him on those platforms, go ahead and do that. Apple for your streaming music, Spotify, Tidal, all that good stuff. I'm an Apple Play girl myself, but whatever streaming service you use, you can stream his music there. Okay, all right. Y'all heard about that Wendy Williams documentary that's coming out? And I love me some Wendy Williams. I do. Like I grew up listening to her in Jersey as a teenager when she was on WBLS. Okay, when it was her and Charlamagne the God. The Wendy Williams show. Okay. So I've always loved Wendy. And then like when I started being a stay-at-home mom and I realized she had her own talk show, I was like, what? Yes, but she's not on the air no more. They have a documentary coming out on Lifetime. I forgot when it's coming out, but I cannot wait to see it. I really wish she would come back, but from the looks of the trailer, it doesn't look like she's going to. But shout out to Wendy Williams. I hope she gets okay, Talana, that's fine. Yep, I'll accept it. So here's what I'm saying, right? Because there was one girl that jumped in the comments and she was like, well, maybe she's just relieved because I know how relieved I am when I have a negative pregnancy test. Let me be clear. A negative pregnancy test and an abortion are two totally different things. Okay. Everybody's relieved when the pregnancy test is negative. If they don't want a baby, great. You have every right to be relieved. You dodged a bullet. Let me be more careful next time. And here's what I don't understand. Because they've been telling us for as long as I can remember that birth control is 98 to 99% effective, right? The different forms, whatever. You just have to find what works for you. 98 to 99% effective. So then why are they going around saying that 50% of women who have abortions is because of failed birth control? Who's lying? Who's lying? Because let's just say, okay, if 50% of the women who go for abortions claim that they were on birth control, then let's say it's, I'm not good at math, but what I'm trying to come up with a way to figure out like how many women altogether that is on birth control as opposed to how many it's not. But either way, if 50% of women who are getting abortions are saying that birth control is not effective, then why do they keep telling us that it's 98 to 99% effective? That means that it doesn't work only out of every 1 or 2 people that try it. So you mean to tell me that that's what that is? All them people getting abortions, I'm having a hard time. It's not clicking for me. And I know I said I'm not good at math, but I'm not that bad at math. It's not matching up. And like I said, you can go to Google and make Google say anything you wanted to. So whatever. I don't even want to hear that. It's excuses, right? It's like like I was saying, there's no conscious, there's no steps. Used to be like you would see a person evolve into a thing. You know what I mean? You would see the bad behavior start, the start of the bad habits. You would see when things happen. But now it's like, no, these kids just, but not even just kids. These people just go head first into the madness. And it's like, well, everyone else is doing it. Like the article I read earlier. It's been going on for 400 years. Me adding another number to the statistic isn't going to make a difference. Let me assure you, and I get how you can feel like, oh, my behavior doesn't matter. Everybody else is out here having a good time. Why am I bothering to not do what it seems like everyone else is having such a good time doing? Like, why wouldn't I not? Me not contributing that to that, it's not going to make a difference. It's still there. And so I don't know if it's a lack of personal self-actualization. I don't know if it's a matter of just being oblivious to how the things that you do affect you personally, and I really think that's what it is. I think we as a people don't sit down and reflect enough. We don't sit down and look back on what we've done, what we could have done differently, how this is affecting us up until this point in life. And maybe you need a therapist to do that. And if you need a therapist to do that, then I encourage you to go to therapy. Nobody's saying you have to take drugs to go to therapy. That's not what therapy is. Okay, but oh, okay. Love you. Um, maybe you need a therapist to do that. And if that's what you need, then that's fine. But I think we just don't take the time to sit down and think enough. Because once you get to a certain age, you got to be able to look back on patterns of behavior and say, okay, maybe I need to stop doing this like this. It's like I tell y'all a lot. You don't necessarily meet different people. I know each person you meet might have a different face, but it pretty much is the same spirits, just in different bodies, right? And you're going to keep choosing the wrong spirits until you get hip to the program. Literally. You're going to keep choosing the wrong spirits. And now don't get me wrong, okay? I know sometimes it's not what was I saying? This is why I hate when I glance at the comments, because then I start reading and like I lose my train of thought. Let's go to the comments. And my train of thought will come back later. I know this woman who had twins was on an IUD because she was at 1%. I'm not saying it's not. Yes, the 1 or 2% don't exist. All praises that she decided to have those babies. Margaret Sanger did lots of damage, and our people follow her example like it's law. Nobody wants to talk about Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood. Speaking of Planned Parenthood, I saw awful video today. I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. Nobody wants to talk about Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood. Nobody wants to talk about that Planned Parenthood actually started from genocide. The reason why, when I read that article earlier about the Black Lives Matters movement and stuff, the reason why I was like, oh, well, there's no reason for us to be skeptical is because as a lover of history, as a reader, I can't help but notice that more times than not, when laws, legislations, programs, or anything like that is passed in this country, it is often to the disadvantage of Black and brown people. And I don't know why, when something comes up, Black people, our first question is not, how does this affect us? What does this have to do with us? I'm going to be honest with you. I lived in the hood. Planned Parenthood clinics are aplenty in the hood. Ride up and down the block. You'll see at least 2 or 3. I now live in the suburbs. I have not seen a Planned Parenthood clinic around here. In the last 2 suburbs I've lived in, I've not seen a Planned Parenthood clinic. Why is that? We can't act like they don't target us. And you might be like, well, white women are getting abortions too. Do you think that the plan was ever for them to kill themselves? You have to understand, even during slavery, even after slavery, even after that, okay, it might not be shocking during slavery that they were sterilizing us against our will, okay, but after that, they were still sterilizing Black women against their will without telling them. These women are thinking they're going for something simple and they're being sterilized. And when someone is trying to sanitize history, what they're going to tell you is that this treatment was for all undesirables, the mentally ill, the handicapped. But it wasn't just Black mentally ill women that you were doing this to. And it wasn't just Black disabled women that you were doing this to. So if you're telling me that this process was only meant for the undesirables and you're doing it to Black people as well, then what am I supposed to? What would be the logical conclusion? What would be the logical explanation? If I started a thing, if Planned Parenthood's objective was just birth control, then that's what they would offer. Birth control and, your exams, the stuff you need to stay healthy. And this is how they try to dress up these abortion issues by calling it female health issues, feminine health issues. Excuse me, sir, I can hear you. If that's what their objective was, if their objective was to just keep Black women safe while they are sexually active, then what's the need for the abortion services? If your goal and objective is not to kill more Black and brown babies, why are your clinics always overpopulating poor Black and brown communities? And listen. Don't think that we as Black women can sit around talking about Black men ain't this, Black men ain't that. We don't need a man. We don't need men for this. We don't need men for that. And think that that does not trickle down to how we treat our sons. You can't sit around and say that you hate Black men and Black men are disgusting and then look your son in the eye and not see a Black man. I don't understand that. So if even for the sake of your child, you have to change your outlook. Like, that is just crazy. But Margaret Sanger is a devil in the flesh, or she was anyway. They're still sterilizing us to this day in other countries. I believe it. And they're still doing it here. They're still doing it here. I'm not convinced that this is not going on. Where did the high Black mortality rate come from all of a sudden? And then what I don't like is that people are trying to use the high Black mortality rate during childbirth as an excuse to have abortions. I had this girl say that to me. Well, you know, Black women die more in labor, so it was better for her to have an abortion. Do you think that women don't die having abortions? Do y'all think that? Have y'all been that brainwashed to think that women are not dying having abortions in these clean and pristine clinics? They make you sign the freaking waiver that says you could die, and if you die, you can't sue us. Here we go. Hold on. Let's Google. The Googler schmoogler. That's all we got to do. How many Black women die in abortions in the US? Let's see. Oh, this is I don't know if it's going to tell me what I want. The abortion rate for Black women is almost 5 times that for white women. They're saying that the disparity is a result of aggressive marketing by abortion providers to minority communities. Isn't that what I just said? That's what I just said. I don't see I don't see like about the mortality rate following abortions. Of course, that's not going to be. But what is here is what popped up was stories about the Black mortality rate in childbirth. Okay, but so they're saying that Black women get abortions 5 times more than white women. I could not find a death rate. Hold on. I know you're like, why shouldn't I look this up earlier? Because my schedule was jacked up today, y'all. And I'm a person that needs routine. Like I need routine and I need schedule. So when my schedule's jacked up, like everything else is crazy. Okay, the National Library of Medicine, and here's what I want to tell y'all. Okay. And it's not about me trying to create a bias. I need y'all to understand how statistic reporting in medicine can work. Okay. My patient comes to me and says, you know, they're having pain or whatever. I give them this medication, they overdose off the medication. The cause of death would be labeled as the overdose of the medication. This is going to go as an overdose death. But nobody's going to go back and say, well, what kind of pain was this person in? Did you do something wrong during the procedure that may have drove them? There's no further digging into what happened after whatever they officially decide. We've seen it happen, okay? So when you're talking about medical statistics and stuff like that, I take that stuff with a grain of salt. This is where you have to kind of just point to your common sense. Okay, let's see. Death associated with legal induced abortion continues to be a rare event, less than 1 per 100,000 procedures. I'm sorry, I don't I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. And the reason I'm not buying that is because they're talking about legally induced procedures. Are you counting women that take the pills too? Are you counting those women as well? Are you really getting a full picture of the women that are dying from these abortions? I just don't trust it. I'm sorry. This issue is too, you know what I'm saying? Too skewed. So here's it's hard to kind of explain because it's such a complex issue. It's like, look at this. I love people. Oh, I think, yeah, that's what I was looking at, Shaka Boom. That's what I was looking at. That's what I had pulled up on Google. Thank you, though, boo. I love my people. They be sending me stuff. It's such a complex issue when it really shouldn't be, because it's kind of one of those things. So it's like, well, doesn't that make sense? And here we are at a point when even our government, for whatever reason, right? For whatever reason, they have decided to backpedal on the abortion issue. And now they're saying, oh, by the heartbeat, it's too late. And the heartbeat starts at, I'm going to say like 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. But that now even our own government is saying, hey, by the time the heart is beating, it's too late. Like, this is a person. But we'll still ignore that, seeking our own selfish pleasure. The Bible says it, and now your government is saying it. What more is it going to take? It's like we're not going to be happy until us as a people are totally destroyed. Because we have this attitude, like we read earlier, oh, it's been going on all this time, so my little one doesn't matter. Everybody else is doing it, so me doing it too, it's not going to make a difference. But it's like you feel like you are an island in and of yourself, as if your actions don't influence others, as if there aren't consequences for the things that you do, seen and unseen consequences. And now I know, well, the Most High is merciful and da 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 da. Yes, He is merciful, but if you willingly sin, yes, in a perfect world, we could all keep our legs closed until we get married. That is the goal. That is the absolute goal. That is 100% what you are supposed to do. But ma'am, sis cousin, if you know you have a problem with sex, then you need to conduct yourself differently. And I've talked about this before, okay? If you know you have a problem with sex, but you still want to socialize, you want to date or whatever, with some self-control, you can do that. Daytime dates only. You can take me to lunch, sir, as long as I'm home by 5. Why? Because it's still daytime. Like, stuff is less likely to occur in the daytime. Just my experience. We're gonna drive separate cars on this date. Because, sir, if I get in a car with you, or sir, if you get in a car with me. And so, but this is what I'm saying. It's like an alcoholic going to a bar. It's like an alcoholic leaving the AA meeting. And some of y'all be doing good. I know. I hear the story. Some of y'all be doing good. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year, 2 years. And then y'all I don't care what y'all say. Sex is like Lay's potato chips. You can't have just one. Okay. So you get to falling off the wagon and you keep falling off listen, at least be responsible. At least. There's a difference between struggling with a thing and just falling into it, just giving up and just saying, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I am. When you refuse to be responsible and you refuse to face your decisions, because when you refuse to use birth control, you're refusing to face your decision to have sex. And everybody want to talk about I'm pro-choice. You made the choice to lay down and open your legs. That was your choice. You had a choice. We're not talking about assault, okay? So stop with that. Well, what about rape? First of all, that is such a small percentage of abortions. It's not even worth mentioning. And secondly, I feel like that should be a whole separate conversation. When you're talking about assault, you're talking about the mother's life being at risk, we're talking about something else. And even with that, I'm not saying to advocate for murder in the case of assault. I'm not saying that at all. But I just don't want people like we can't have a conversation because we keep convoluting it with these side issues. So we can't ever get to the conclusion because we keep, well, what about this and what about that and what about this and what about that? Listen, that is not the majority of people. So, just like with any other issue, you're not going to stop to consider a small minority in a decision that's going to affect the majority. You're just not. That it's not smart and it doesn't make sense. So why are we making abortion laws and acting like it's for a small majority of the women who actually get abortions? Let's keep it real. Most of the women who are getting abortions are from consensual sex. Stop it. And because of the fact that it's from consensual sex and you refuse to use birth control, again, I say you have a problem facing your decisions. Y'all won't even keep it real with the Most High. You won't. Listen, I struggle with habits for a long time. I'm not saying that I ain't been through it. I've been through it. Come home reading and praying and trying. Lord, please don't let this man ring my phone. Yeah, I could have blocked his number, but I wasn't there yet. Lord, please don't let this man ring my phone, because if he ring my phone, I already know what's going to happen. But y'all won't even, you can't have an open heart if you're not honest. And what's crazy is you're lying to the Most High like he's not sitting there watching everything anyway. You know how they always say when a woman come to ask you a question, she already know the truth? Same thing with God. Same thing with God. He already know the truth. He seen you. He seen you. He seen you. And instead of you, Lord, I have a problem and I need help. Please, I don't know what to do. You'll let the world convince you that all that matters is what you want and all that matters is what's good for you. Instead of looking at the world around you and looking at the current state of the Black family, the current state of the Black woman, and consequently the current state of Black children, instead of looking at that and seeing, well, no, something needs to change. And you know what? I want better for my family. Hear me. A lot of y'all don't realize how your decisions will affect your future. And I know you may be thinking, well, I'm killing a baby, so there's no way this decision is going to affect me in the future. What about if you go to have that baby that you want with that man that you finally met? You finally feel like this your Prince Charming, but your womb won't hold a child anymore. What about then? What about a botched abortion and now you are psychologically traumatized? It ain't even got to be botched. That is a traumatic event. And I don't care how much y'all try to say, oh, it's not alive. It's not alive. Your body knows. And as much as you want to deny it, you know too that you stopped a life inside of you. You know it. Your soul knows it. That's why some of y'all are angry and bitter now. That's why some of y'all just in full on rebellion right now. Because you're angry. And instead of you admitting that you're angry and admitting to your mistakes, you just keep piling on and making it worse and making it worse. Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. Could you type that out for me, please? Because I don't remember it off the top of my head. I know women that gave up their child for adoption instead of aborting the child. At least they gave the babies a chance at life. Yes, they did. They did. And you know, Black people love to talk about, I would never give a child of mine up for adoption. Oh, but you'll kill one. Let's stop acting like there aren't steps that could have prevented the end goal. Why are we wearing abortions like a badge of honor? I stopped watching Love and Hip Hop. I stopped watching it because it's just too much. Like it's too much, and now they got Saucy Santana on there, and I'm sorry, but looking at him make my stomach hurt. I just it's not right, and I don't find it entertaining. Like I'm sorry, I can't do that. So I stopped watching the show. But one day I was scrolling and it was going off, and another show was coming on. So they were talking, and of course, one of them got to talking about having abortions. And so they all start sharing their abortion stories. And not one of them said, I'm sorry, I'm remorseful. I wish I hadn't done that. I think about that baby all the time. It wasn't that conversation. I had to do what I had to do. Because the end goal for everybody now is the bag. I got to get to the bag. I can't let nothing stop me from getting to the bag. And but even with all these people getting to the bag, y'all are still broke. Let's be clear. A lot of what these young girls get, and I'm not, again, I got to stop myself from saying young girls because it's women 40 and 50 years old still out here trying to act like they're 20 something. Well, I said before, no amount of plastic surgery is going to erase your age, ma'am, sis cousin. I don't care how many vaginoplasties you get, facelifts, tummy tucks, BBLs, all that stuff. Even Dolly Parton wears gloves when she performs on stage because her hands tell her true age. Some part of you is going to give it away. And like I said before, your spirit wears that. 15 minutes into a conversation with you and somebody can tell like, wow, she's hurt, she's traumatized, she's really been through a lot, but you think that you hiding it underneath all of wigs and makeup. You're not. You're not. And so what we see a lot of our women falling for is what appears to be flash, what appears to be affluent, and what you don't realize is a whole lot of debt. These people are in debt. These people are going in debt to put on a show for you. When they said the world is a stage, y'all need to really sit back and think about that, especially in this day of time of social media and reality television. The world literally is these people's stage, and they get up here every day and they put performances on. And who are they performing on behalf of? They're performing on behalf of the corporate overlords, the people that pay them to be influencers, the companies that buy the commercials in between the shows. That's who they're puppeteering for. It's like the Pied Piper. They play the music and the rest of the girls just follow. It's like if you could imagine Beyonce just leading a bunch of women who look like her right into the gates of hell. Just picture it. With the microphone in her hand, just singing and dancing and leading them right into the gates of hell. That's literally what's happening. Replace her with Cardi B, Sukiana, Sexy Bread, whoever. Singing and dancing them right into hell. Chasing a bag. Like my good sis right here said. Chasing a bag gonna lead you to flames. We gotta be careful. Get your money, but not in a sinful way. Until we start to understand that we were not meant to be alone. We were not meant to be individuals all of our lives. Until we start to understand that, we're always going to feel like there's a void missing. And that's another reason I feel like a lot of these women have these babies, because you know why? A baby is not going to hold you accountable. A baby not gonna hold you accountable because, like I said earlier, they don't know when they're first born. They don't know. They just have to take whatever you give them. And so whatever you give them is love to them because they don't know. But guess what? A man knows better. A grown man knows better. And a grown man knows when you on your BS and when you not. And a grown man is going to call you out. And you either going to have to change or that man is going to leave you. And so instead of changing and realizing like, no, wait, I need this man in my life. Let me get myself together. Instead of doing that, you'll say, oh, just bump the man and give me the baby because I need something or someone to love me. Because a baby not going to call you out on your crap. A baby can't look at you and be like, mama, you wrong for that. It's easy to love somebody who can't speak up for themselves. That's easy because to love them, you get to determine what love is in your mind for someone who can't speak up for themselves. Okay. Just as a parent, you get to determine how you're going to show your kid love. Like my kids are very affectionate and that's my fault. Yes, I'll blame myself. I love hugs. Okay. So I'm always hugging on them and kissing on them and telling them I love them and everything else. They're going to grow up and probably be very affectionate husbands because their mama was always giving them kisses and hugs and stuff. They understand this to be a sign of love. But now if I wanted to be a jerk and not show any affection at all, they will grow up becoming cold-hearted sociopaths because that is what I decided to give them. This is how we mess up our children. Okay. And this is how y'all feel like, oh, I'm a filling the void of love by having a baby. It does not, that baby is never going to love you the way that a man is supposed to. The baby is never going to be able to give you what you're looking for. Cause, and here's another, kick the shaft, shalom and shalom. That's my brother over there. What was I about to say? I got it too. So this is why you have this is why I feel like there's the I'm gonna be a single mom movement. Because a baby can't check you. A baby not gonna make you look at yourself. A baby's not gonna hold up a mirror to you. Let me tell you something I realized about marriage. It is a mirror to you. It is a mirror to you because whatever you give your spouse, they're going to react to it. And you may not realize how the things you do affect people. You may not realize how your tone of voice, you may not realize you talk nasty. You may not realize you yell a lot. You may not realize these things. But a grown man gonna point them out to you. He'll be like, girl, why you talking to me like that? What is wrong with you? A baby can't. They're either gonna grow up and be scared. They're gonna grow up and emulate your behavior. It took me years to learn how to stop yelling. I was surprised when I seen my husband deal with his kids because I'm like, or when he would tell me, stop yelling. You ain't got to yell all the time. Well, how am I supposed to talk to the kids then? That's what I grew up hearing, yelling. So in my mind, yelling is normal. Like, this is what you're supposed to do, right? It took my husband to come in and be like, nah, girl, this is crazy. And why do you think anybody wants to live in this environment like this? And when I sit back and think about it, I remember how unhappy I was in that environment. But I figured like, okay, well, I didn't turn out like a psycho serial killer, so it must be okay. No, it's still wrong. It's wrong. And so when you refuse to correct yourself, when you refuse to allow anyone else to correct you, you raise babies with your same bad habits. And then y'all wonder why there ain't no good men out here because they've been raised by a bunch of rebellious, selfish, uncooperative, destructive Black women. Because if you're not building a family, then what the heck are you doing? You're destroying a family. Okay, it's like I'm playing a video game, right? And I'm trying to advance. Like I'm at level 37 on my video game. It's a RPG. So it's like you play like a warrior or whatever, like Zelda, like Super Mario, kind of. Okay, so come with me. So I'm at level 37 and I'm trying to advance, right? But there are materials. Like, when you play these games, you go on a journey, you gather materials on the journey, and then when it's time for you to make these advancements to your weapons and stuff, you use the materials, right? Okay, but I don't have enough materials right now, so I'm kind of stuck. There's no way I can advance without all the materials. And like in some cases, I'm only missing one thing, but I need that one thing in order to make this complete, or else I can't advance. Why do you feel like that you as a woman can advance without that one thing? Because you'll have you and the baby, and like this woman in the article was talking about, oh, well, I have random people to help me with my kids, and it hasn't affected my career. Bullcrap. Bullcrap. There's no way that you're going to be a single mother and think that your life is going to be the same, or that you are going to be able to advance in your career like normal. And hear me. I'm so tired of these feminists talking about the wage gap and the disparity in pay, and women are paid so much more less. Who is supposed to take care of the kids then? Who's supposed to take care of the kids then? And I don't think it's fair for women to be asking for work, for women to be asking for more money when they don't work more. That's not what they're saying. They're saying, oh, if you compare a woman and a man in the same job, the woman is going to make significantly less. But when you ask them why the woman would make significantly less, it's not a thing of she's making less per hour, first of all. They're talking about the sum total of what they will earn in any given time period, a year, 5 years, 10 years. And this is because you have to figure for childbirth and child raising, which is primarily the woman's job. I know I'm not supposed to say that. Men can do it too. That's not their job. They're supposed to be in the career making the more sum total of the money. And please, before y'all start coming for me, I'm not saying women can't have careers. I believe that life is long enough for you to do multiple things. All right, if you want to have a career and then have babies and stay home with them until they are grown or can fend and they're independent enough, and then go back out into the workforce, then ma'am, sis, cousin, by all means. I'm 43. I've been doing this for what, 2 years, I think. The thing popped up on my Facebook memories not too long ago. Who starts a podcast at 41? There are other things that I'm into this year. I just started writing for The Light. Who does that at 40? You know what I'm saying? Who's picking up stuff and doing it at 43? There's enough time, Lord willing, and the Most High says the same. There's enough time in your life for you to live through different phases. You can. I have girls in college. My oldest just graduated from college. She started her career. She's talking about marriage and family and trying to figure out how that's going to look for her. But yes, when I have my babies, I want to stay home with them. So guess what we're already talking about right now? What kind of husband she needs, because she's dating. And I'm telling her, okay, now you out here dating, you need to keep your future goals in mind when you out here picking. Because when you start having kids, you want to be able to take as much time off as you want to with your children. You need to have the kind of husband that can provide at that level to keep you in what you're used to and is going to be supportive of that. If this your future plans. But there's more than enough time for her to have her career, have her babies, Lord willing. And then if she want to go back and pick up her career later on, she can. But another reason why we have these conversations, and it's not me coming to her, it's her coming to me a lot. It's her coming to me because I'm honest with my children. I've been honest with my kids all day life. Even to the point of my embarrassment. Even to where I got, yeah, mama was tripping. I was out here really bugging. But this is what I did, and I don't want you to do the same thing. But again, y'all don't want to have these conversations with your children. So. Accountability. Period. Listen, when you refuse to be accountable, you are also refusing the power to change your situation. Because as long as it wasn't your fault, then there's nothing you can do to change it, right? Because there's nothing you did to cause it. It's just like when it rains. There's nothing I can do to stop the rain because I'm not the one that started it. And so if I'm saying that everything that ever happened to me, all my traumatic incidences, and I'm not saying to take accountability for your trauma, I'm saying the trauma that you caused. I'm not talking about taking accountability for what someone did to you, but also, again, barring extreme cases, please stop acting like I'm some kind of psycho or something like that. Barring extreme cases, how much of what you feel like traumatized you was your fault? I was in an abusive relationship. That's my fault. That's my fault. 1,000%. Was he wrong for putting his hands on me? Absolutely. Yes, he was. But was I stupid for staying? Times 100. Okay. So, but if I refuse to take accountability for that, if I'm sitting around saying, oh, well, I was in an abusive relationship because my father left and I never learned what love is for a man. So that's why I was in an abusive relationship. Then I'm saying that I don't ever have the power to not be in an abusive relationship. I'm saying that because of what my father did to me, I will always and forever be in an abusive relationship. That's what I'm saying. When you refuse to take accountability, that's what you're saying. I can never get out of this position that I'm in because the person that did this to me will not let me go. Instead of saying, nah, I messed up. I messed up. I'm sorry. That was wrong for me. Moms, some of y'all gonna have to look your kids in the eye. And I'm sorry. I chose the wrong man to lay with and to be your father, and I'm sorry. You deserve better than that from a parent. And I owe you an apology because I was the one that was irresponsible with my womb. It don't matter how much you try to bash that man in front of those kids. They're going to have to figure that relationship out for themselves. So even if he ain't cooperating, even if you might feel like, well, he tricked me into getting pregnant. Did he steal your birth control or something? Did he hold you down and make you? Then you didn't get pregnant by yourself. We got to stop this whole blaming the men, blaming the men, blaming the men. Are they the leaders? Yes, they are supposed to lead us. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that every man is supposed to just lead every woman all willy-nilly. I don't know what y'all be thinking when y'all hear this stuff. Okay. But please understand, like, it's very case specific. Yeah, I talk about my husband and the things that he does for me and how happy he makes me, but that's case specific. That's what's going on here. That doesn't mean for you to take that same attitude or these same qualities and try to bestow it upon the next stranger that you meet. That's the problem. We want something so bad that we try to make people be who we try to make men be who we want them to be instead of just accepting that man for who he is. Instead of just realizing like this man has no work ethic, he's lazy, and I don't want to deal with this for the rest of my life. Instead of us realizing that, you know what we'll do like dummies? And this is dumb when you're dating. This is dumb to do when you're dating. Instead of you just saying like, okay, it's been a few weeks. He ain't got no job. He ain't moving to get no job. I don't want to deal with this in my life. I'm done. Block, 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 block. Instead of us doing that, we'll feel like it's our responsibility to talk to him about that. Well, let me talk to him and see if I can get him to change. Right. So then you go there and you lay all this out. And I need this and I want that. And I need you to get a job. And because this is what I want and blah, 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 blah. And so what he do, he tells you everything that you want to hear. Sure, yes, I'm gonna get some. Yep. And he's gonna repeat the same lies until it keeps you coming back. And then what I always tell y'all, when you stay someplace longer than you should, this is when the trouble starts. You're not going to make a man do anything he doesn't want to do. And I say it's dumb to talk about that kind of stuff when you're dating, because when you are dating a person, that is who they are. That is them without your influence. Yes, you're meeting the representative at first, but baby, some of y'all don't even meet good representatives. Like some of y'all don't make these men put on their customer service voice when they dealing with you. You just accept any old thing they want to give you. Okay? When you are dating, ma'am, sis, cousin, you don't owe anyone to compromise. Let me say that again. When you are dating and choosing and picking, you don't owe anyone to compromise. Now, if you decide that, hey, maybe I can give a little on this or give a little on that, that needs to be your decision that you make, because what you can't ever do is look at your future husband and be like, well, I gave this up for you. And he gonna be like, well, I didn't ask you to. So if you decide that that's something you want to compromise on, that needs to be of your own doing. There will be plenty of compromises when you get married. Life is going to be full of compromises. While you are single, while you are dating, this is the time to be selfish with yourself. Now, not after you're married. It's too late then. You in the thing. You're there. When you're single and dating and looking around, instead of going around and getting knocked up and having abortion parties. There's a website or something, Shout Out Your Abortion, where women can come and tell their abortion stories collectively. There are groups online about this. Celebrate your abortion. Be proud of your abortion. I don't think Jeffrey Dahmer ever got to hold up one of them people that he killed and smile with his picture and talking about post-cannibal glow. You're comparing murder to abortion. That's what this one lady told me. You're comparing suicide to abortion. Is it not ending a life? So I don't have the power to decide to end my own life, but you have the power to decide to end someone else's? It's not making any sense. If I took a life at the age of 40, that person still had more development to go. They might have turned into a 50, 60, 70, 80-year-old. They might have become a senior citizen. Who knows? They might have made it to 100. Why do we decide that just because a person is outside of the womb, now their life is worth something? Now it's punishable if you take their life? Development. As much as we sit and talk to ourselves about you never know what tomorrow will bring and you have to stay positive, and you always have to look at as much as we say that to ourselves to get ourselves through life, why doesn't that apply when it comes to saving a baby's life? And let me be clear with y'all, I don't care what they tell you about plan B, that now they're trying. Before, when they were calling it RU486, and for those of y'all who don't understand what 86 means, 86 is restaurant terminology for we don't have no more. Okay, if you ever been in a restaurant, you heard them say 86 the potatoes, we ain't got no more potatoes. The name of the Plan B pill, just Google the letter RU, the number 4, the number 8, and the number 6. That was the abortion pill. Yes, it makes you have a period. But if you are pregnant, it detaches the fetus from your uterus. It's an abortion pill. Now they'll say, oh, it just makes you have a period. No, that's not all it does. In the having of the period, this is the intended. So yes, that's still an abortion. Just because you ran and get the Plan B, still an abortion. And it's I today really question the advent of sexual education in school. I remember when they sent home the permission slip in elementary school. Our parents had to sign a permission slip. Now, to my understanding, they just teach it. It's just part of the curriculum. But when I was in school, I'm 43, mind your business. Back when I was in elementary school, we had to have a permission slip sent home. And our parents had to agree to let us take the sex ed class. And if your parents didn't let you take the sex ed class, then you had to sit in the library during sex ed time. Okay, but when we look back on what sex ed was, they taught you about the reproductive systems. They identified the parts of the reproductive system. They told you what happened, how they taught us how to have sex. Okay, they told us what happens when you have sex and everything else. If I didn't know better, I would think the introduction of sexual education into the elementary school system was to push the promiscuity of children. Because what else has it done? The teenage pregnancy rate has always been high. They might be saying it's lower now, but I'm sorry, is Teen Mom still keep coming out with new seasons? Teen Mom, that was on when I was in freaking college or high school. 20 years that show's been on. The Teen Mom OGs, they're in their 30s now. So no, clearly there's still a problem. But you know what they'll say? Instead of they're saying, no, there's clearly a problem, they'll say, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with teenagers getting pregnant. Have you seen the mess that most of their lives have become? In and out of jail, broke, poor, on drugs. How do we keep saying that it's not a problem when 20 years ago, this was very clearly a problem that needed to be solved? Teen pregnancy used to be an epidemic. And you know what? Let me say this, okay? Just like with anything else, it didn't become a problem until it started affecting white girls. I remember this whole big deal when these white girls started doing these pregnancy packs in these small towns, and all the girls in the school, and I think I was in high school when this was happening, but all the girls in the school would decide, okay, we're all going to get pregnant together. Now teen pregnancy is an epidemic. But again, I say, why does Teen Mom keep having new seasons with new teenage mothers? Are we not trying to get rid of? We can't be saying we're trying to get rid of it if we keep putting these women who are having babies when they are teenagers on these pedestals, putting them on TV, showing them traveling here and there and doing this and that. Come on, it's not adding up. It's almost as if they need us to continue aborting our babies. Because why else would you set someone up to get pregnant in an undesirable and disadvantageous manner? What do you mean set them up to get pregnant? The message from our parents used to be no sex until marriage. The message at school used to be no sex until marriage. The message at church used to be no sex until marriage. If you got caught having sex outside of marriage, you were brought to an open shame, let alone if you got pregnant. Girls would leave their towns, go live with relatives to have a baby. and then come back and they would act like it was just a sibling, like, oh, the mama just had a baby or something like that. Like there used to be consequences and repercussions. People held each other to a standard, but now we don't anymore. Whatever you want to do is fine. And when you start to say something, all they wanted, well, you did. Why are you worried about what I did? I'm telling you what I did. And here's what's crazy. You'll listen to me tell you that I did the exact same thing that you're doing. And instead of you saying like, oh, maybe I should sit back and listen, you'll say, oh, well, you did it and you're still alive, so I can do it too. You dummy. Did you not hear all the stuff that I told you that I had to go through because of said thing? It's like I tell my girls, don't go out here thinking you're going to get the same grace that I got. Don't go out here trying the Most High. It is only by the grace of God that I'm not laying up in a long-term care facility, that I don't have AIDS, that I'm not in hospice, that I'm still alive, that I'm not in prison right now, that I'm not swinging from somebody's pole somewhere, that I'm not walking the blade somewhere. It is only by the grace of the Most High, because I know the things that I have done. And I kind of feel like I always tell y'all, when y'all get new information, you're responsible for it. I feel like once you had that story broken down to you, okay, and you go out here and still act up, can you really expect the same amount of grace to be extended? It's kind of like willfully sinning at this point. The stove is hot. The stove is hot. Don't touch it. That fire's hot. It's going to burn you. Don't touch it. And what you don't realize is the first time you touch the stove, ooh, it's hot. The second time you touch it, you can touch it a little bit longer before you jump back. Eventually, you're going to build up calluses on your hand. I don't know if y'all ever had calluses from swinging on the monkey bars when you were younger. There's those hard little pieces of skin that form like right under your finger. And so eventually you build up those calluses and it don't burn that bad. Or you can hold your hand over the fire longer before it's hot, before you have to move it. That's how you get desensitized to sin. I'm fornicate this one time and nothing happened. I'm good. Oh, okay. Let me go get some again. I had this one abortion and oh, look, I'm still alive. I'm fine. I'm still healthy. So it must not be a big deal. Let me go do it again. It's women out here with more bodies than some gangsters. And it's true. And it's a sad state of affairs. Man, I pray for our women. I really, really pray for our women. I'm scared, y'all. I'm scared to have sons that's gonna have to go out here and try to find a wife. I really am. It's horrible. But we have come to a point where we are now celebrating the murder of our children. And it's just like Banat said last night on Truth Be Told. Was that Banat? No, wait, who was talking? Wait, somebody was talking. Nariah Cole was talking. I'm sorry. But she was on Truth Be Told podcast last night. Nariah Cole was talking. She was saying, just as these women who are in the world, just like they go hard, just like they loud, just like they're proud of what they're doing, we who are trying to be righteous women, we need to have that same energy about our stuff. We need to have that same energy about our message. We need to be going just as hard for the Most High. We need to be going just as hard to show these women examples of righteousness. We have to offer an alternative. You can't just tell people, okay, leave us alone, and not give them anything to fill that space. Okay, we don't want y'all on this wicked content. Where's the righteous content? We don't want y'all listening to hoe rap. Okay, where's the righteous rap? We don't want y'all dressing like this. Okay, but what can I wear? And please stop trying to dress me like a pilgrim that just came off the Mayflower. Modest doesn't mean frumpy. That's not, and I think that's how a lot of girls get turned off too, because they're shown one picture of modesty. And so that, I think that turns them off too. But I've over talked. Like I said, this issue is just so it's very complex. Just the issue of Black womanhood is complex. And so, these it's not little, but the topics that I talk about is I try to pack a lot into it. Okay, so I'm sorry I ran over a little bit, and then my boys didn't even come down here. They must be asleep up there. But all right, I love y'all so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I hope something that I said will help you, whether you are watching this live or on the replay. Imagining the grandbabies. I hope something that I said will help you, whether it's live or on the replay. I will see you here next Thursday, 8 o'clock, for another episode of Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass. I will see you on these content creators streets. Follow me at Miss Mono's World. Don't forget to follow my husband at Monologue Magad, MONOLOG MAGAD. I love you so much. Shalom and good night.
Mono.
Living super clean. That it came
One time for my king doing king things. Mommy's hoes cause he know he got a good thing.
Tune in to Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass with your host, Miss Mono.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono.
Every Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. live on YouTube at Miss Mono's World and Monologue Magad. Now also available on the Saya TV on Roku and Fire Stick. Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass. Don't miss it, sisters and cousins.